What is up everyone, Spartan G Gaming here. Thank you so much as always for joining me in this next World War II video. It really means a lot to me. In today's video we're going to be testing out and having some gameplay with the brand new Sterling SMG. Now I could not wait to get my hands on this when it became available in the Blitzkrieg event. I did actually get my hands on it through a supply drop, and so then I experimented with it, tried to find the best setup to make this gun easy to get kills and have an easy setup to make it feel comfortable through gameplay. And to be honest, I never really found the best setup. It is a very poor weapon to use, one of the poorest of SMGs I've used so far. That's my personal opinion. But we're going to go through that through gameplay, and I'm going to come to a conclusion of why I feel like it's probably not one of the best SMGs that you can get. But there's the version of the Sterling that I got. I got the Royal Decree Epic Variation in the supply drop, and it looks super cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't play super cool. So we're now going to go through that with you now, into my info and my stats, into why I feel this weapon is not as good as what it should be compared to other SMGs. Now, we're coming into standard core mode to start with. Then after this, we're going into hardcore mode to see the difference. Now, this gameplay you're about to see, before I get into anything else, is with the final setup that I think suited the Sterling SMG. But it's not the best by far. But I couldn't find anything else better, and it's still reasonably poor in getting kills. So now, when you come into this gameplay, when you are using the Sterling for the first time, obviously you're going to have no attachments on. You're going to try and work your way up through your weapon levels to unlock the attachments. You're going to try and experiment with the basic training perks and the divisions. I understand that, and that's where I then run into problems. When you first start using the gun, the Sterling, we must remember, has a slow fire rate. That is the first problem I encountered, because the amount of fire and the bullets that come out of this weapon are not quick enough to get a kill on the enemy. They are that slow that by the time you've got enough bullets out to kill the enemy, they've already killed you. So that was the first problem I had to overcome. Now when you look at the stats of the fire rate of the Sterling compared to other SMGs in its class, it's quite surprising. I know that the stats are only a guideline and they're not accurate. But when you look at the stats, the Sterling has a rating of level 6. Compare that to the Grease gun that has a fast fire rate, I think, and that's actually a level 5. That doesn't make sense. It's the same with the Type 100. That has the same 6 level as the Sterling. But again, the Type 100, I think, unless you've used the Sterling, you're going to know that the Type 100 is actually a lot faster fire rated weapon than the actual Sterling. So the stats are not right there, but we know, as I said, the stats aren't accurate. They are just a guideline, but it just doesn't make sense. But all I can tell you is the fire rate that comes out of the Sterling to begin with when you first start using it is dreadful. It is so slow, you will die loads of times before you actually get the kill on the enemy. It's one of the worst fire rated weapons of any SMG class so far in any Call of Duty game I've played. The next thing I had to look at was the damage. Because like I said, I find that with the slow fire rate coming out, the damage was not damaging enough to get the kill on in the first place anyway on the enemy. So you're always coming into close confrontation with enemy, and again the damage just didn't feel damaging enough. It was so weak, it just felt so like a Nerf gun. You just weren't getting that strong power of your bullets doing any damage to the enemy. You would just die in a game before you had a chance to kill the enemy. So when you look at the stats through the damage on the SMGs, we've got the Sterling at level 6. We have the Type 100, the WW2, and the M1928 and the Orso all at level 5. Apparently, they're saying that those 4 weapons are less damaging than the Sterling. But give me a Type 100, a WW2, an M1928 and an Orso every day of the week. I can tell you now, unless you've used the Sterling, that those 4 guns are more damaging than the Sterling will ever be. I've never struggled with any SMG in my life on Call of Duty, but with the Sterling, no matter what game I played while I was experimenting, I died so many times I could not get a kill. I was struggling to get a kill with it. Now I'm going to quickly go through the setup with you. What I did have in this gameplay and what I've been playing with for the last few minutes into a reasonable setup. And it's not the best, as I said, because I was still finding that I could do better, but I could never find the setup perfect enough to make this an awesome weapon to use and feel very comfortable with. But I went with Airborne Division. Airborne Division is set for SMGs, and I know you can mix and match sometimes weapons with different divisions, it doesn't matter. Sometimes different divisions work better with some other weapons, but with the SMG Sterling in this case, the Airborne Division was the best because the reloading of the weapon faster while you're on the run did help, and also while you're running and sprinting, you can actually fire. And because of that slow fire rate, it does help. You get that fire rate out before an enemy has a chance to actually get their weapon up. I also went with the basic training perk Forage. Now again, as I've already explained, because of the amount of bullets that you're going to be ploughing into the enemy before you get a kill, you're going to be using plenty of bullets. So you're going to need to replenish those bullets, the amount you're going to go through. So Forage only made sense to me. And I experimented with every other basic training perk, but nothing worked as much as Forage did. It actually was the best basic training perk I could find to use the Sterling in the best way possible. Attachments, Quick Draw. I found that I needed something fast to lift my weapon up to match how quick my Airborne Division was. So I had to match the speed of the division with the weapon, and the Quick Draw did actually work very nicely. I also had Reflex Sight on. Now you don't have to go with the Reflex Sight if you don't want, this is just my preference. I couldn't get on with the standard sight, but if you do prefer the standard sight, then by all means guys, keep with the standard sight on. But I find that the Reflex Sight is a little bit more clearer view when you're looking through that lens. And also, hopefully you can understand this one as well, but I went with the other attachment, Extended Mags. Again, I found the damage and the fire rate that comes out of this weapon is only getting hit markers most of the time. And again, you're going to go through those bullets very quickly. So having extended mags on, having more bullets in that first clip is definitely going to help you have more of a chance to kill that enemy when you need to, when they're in front of you and you've got no choice but to try and blast them. So extended mags did help in standard core mode. So that is the setup that made me feel a little bit more comfortable, as you see through this gameplay that I'm playing here on the London docks, a little bit more easier to use. Now, you don't have to go with that setup I gave you, as I said earlier guys. You can go with whatever you want, but I've experimented, as I said, with all the basic training perks, with all the divisions. Nothing worked better than the setup I actually gave you now. But again, I'm actually going to say to you, being honest, it's not the best setup I could have had. But there is no other better setup I found. It's just the gun, it just feels so weak. Now we did end that game up, which is why I said it was a decent setup, 14 for 10. Nearly every other game I was playing up till this point here, I was in the negative, I was dying loads of times just because I could not get a kill on the enemy, because it just felt so weak. Now we're going into hardcore. Now, as you know guys, hardcore is going to be a one-shot kill. But again, in hardcore, it still has its problems, the Sterling SMG. While I go through the different setup now to obviously make hardcore a little bit more easy to play with a different setup, I'm just going to show you the weapon as well, because we haven't had much time to actually look at the weapon. So as I do that, I'll show you the different setup and go through that with you. So we're keeping the Airborne Division on. I'm going to change the basic training perk from Forage now to Requisitions. Obviously we don't need Forage because we don't need to keep resupplying our ammo, because one shot is now going to be enough to kill the enemy. Well, we hope so. And so I'm going to choose Requisitions instead. By the end of the game, I want to have my score streaks all unlocked, so it keeps me winning the game, and it will actually keep my kill-death ratio high, because I'm fed up with this weapon, being in the negative with it. I'm also going to slightly change the attachments. We're actually going to keep the Reflex Sight on, because I like that, and the Quick Draw really helped me in standard core mode, so that's going to help me in hardcore as well. But I'm exchanging the extended mags, because we don't really need that many bullets in our clip now, because we're in hardcore. It's not going to take that many bullets now to kill the enemy. And I'm going to exchange that for rapid fire. Now when you come into hardcore, if you're not quick with your bullets coming out in hardcore, you can actually very quickly, very easily die in hardcore. So rapid fire, because this is a slow rate fire weapon, as you know guys, that rapid fire is just going to help very slightly to get your bullets out quicker from this weapon, to kill the enemy slightly quicker before they have a chance to kill you. So with all these quick things now on that we've set up with, coming into hardcore definitely helped play in hardcore game mode. It really did help. Now obviously I'm going to recommend to you now that if you are going to get your Sterling up through the camos and unlock your camos, definitely come into hardcore mode because of it. You're definitely going to get your kills a lot more easier, but again you have to have the correct setup. There was times I was bringing the Sterling into hardcore mode with experimenting again, Not with the setup that I'm showing you now, that I'm getting going to get these massive kills with, but while experimenting. And again, hardcore caused problems with the Sterling because it wasn't quick enough, it wasn't getting the bullets out quick enough, I was dying before I got the kill. There were so many issues I was having again, even in hardcore mode. Even when you've got a one-shot kill game mode, it still struggled. It was so annoying to use the Sterling in most games because it was more frustrating than anything else, just trying to actually get a kill. So you've got to try and remember to set your weapon up to use as a fast weapon rather than, you know, using it as a slow weapon like it actually is as standard, and try and make the best out of it. Otherwise you're going to really struggle with it like I did. But I think the setup that I now gave you, with the Airborne Division on, with the Requisitions, Basic Training Perk, with the Reflex Sight on, the Quick Draw and Rapid Fire, as I'm showing you here in this gameplay, was a decent setup. The next challenge you have to overcome is not being frustrated by getting killed by your teammates. That's the only thing that frustrates me now in hardcore. You're going to see in this gameplay me being shot and exploded so many times by my teammates. But it's not. I'm not going to let that bother me, and you shouldn't as well, guys, because remember, it's not going to add a death to your scoreboard. The only frustrating thing about it is if you are going to unlock your camos for this, especially for the copper camo to get your bloodthirsties, it's going to put an end to your bloodthirsties. So that's the most annoying thing of all. But you've got to try and refrain yourself from going after that teammate who shot you. Sometimes they just shoot you accidentally, as we've already described in other videos that I've shown you. Sometimes, though, they do it on purpose, which is very annoying. So I think personally Call of Duty needs to change it. But as you see, you know, and you're going to see throughout this game, I'm going to get killed loads of times by teammates. I'm doing nothing to entice it. I'm actually playing my normal game. I'm actually winning the game for the team. We're in first place at the moment. We're playing well with the setup that I just explained to you I had. And it seems like this setup is actually very good with playing with the Sterling in this game. So there's another kill from the teammate, another explosion. I know it was an accident, but it's just annoying. But yeah, I think I found the correct setup. But please don't see me as treating this gun as negative, because I know a lot of you are going to enjoy this and you're going to have a different way of playing than I do. You're probably going to find it not as hard to use as I do, but I've got a feeling, I mean, this is the first SMG I've ever used where I've ever came into any problems like what I've, you know, spoken to you about throughout the video and gameplay that I've shown you so far. It is, for me personally speaking, one of the worst SMGs I've had to try and set up to make the gun easier and more comfortable to use. Normally SMGs, as you know, even in standard core mode or even hardcore mode, normally gets the kills for you very easily. But the Sterling seems to really struggle. So as I said, it's about finding that perfect setup, or as best a setup you possibly can, just to make it a little bit more better, the weapon. But don't get me wrong, I don't want to feel too negative about this weapon. It has been a lot of fun using it while I've been experimenting with it. It was just the fact that I struggled getting kills with it. And there were moments where I was getting so many hit markers on a player, I knew I should have got the kill and I didn't. They turned around and shot me. Checking the connection, it wasn't connection issues. As I said, I experienced this through all of the gameplay I had. Normally, if it's like that and it is connection issues, it's probably 1 or 2 different games. But when it's every single game that you're coming into, whether it's standard core mode or hardcore, and you're experiencing the same problems all the time, you know damn well then it is just to do with the weapon. So no doubt, I hope not, but I've got a feeling, no doubt, that you guys are going to experience the same as what I have. But like I said, you've got to stick with it. It will get better, the better setup that you have. You probably might choose different to me, as I said, you don't have to go with what I had. But I think now I feel very comfortable with the weapon. So with that setup I had, I probably will play this more often. I do obviously want to get it to gold, and when I am, I'm going to bring it into hardcore now with this setup that I've got, and I'm actually going to try and get this to gold as fast as I can like I usually do. So hopefully it won't cause me a problem. But now we're getting our score streaks unlocked. This is why I choose Requisitions. We're going to end the game now, hopefully winning, getting victory. And again, those score streaks that I'm now getting out just makes the game feel a little bit more in control now. With the paratroopers I've just got out, my paras are going to do the job for me in killing the rest of the enemy that's on the team, hopefully if they don't kill them first. But normally they do a good job, the paratroopers. And I've got my carpet bombing run coming up, I'm nearly there. We're going to let that out hopefully before the end of the game. And like I said, it just takes charge of the game, having those score streaks unlocked at the end, which is why I chose requisitions. And you can see now that you don't really need to have forage on. I've never needed anything like that. I've never needed the extended mags, but you will need them in standard core mode. But in hardcore, you can actually change them around now, have this different setup that I have, and look at the kills and the gameplay that you can have. As I'm showing you here, you can actually be invincible on the map near enough. Okay, you're going to get shot by your teammates a few times, but hey, you know, carry on with it and pick yourself up and you know, make the most out of this weapon. But as you see here, I'm flying around this map. I've got all high score streaks unlocked. We are in the lead. We're top of the leaderboard. We're coming to the end of the game now. Hopefully we will get that victory. I'm still getting, you know, my carpet bombing run now, getting kills. The paratroopers are still getting kills as well. And we're going to end the game nicely. So I am really happy and comfortable with that setup in hardcore. So if you want to use that, guys, give it a go. We'll have one more last look before the game ends. There we go, guys. That's victory. I believe I was top of the board as well, the scoreboard, and we're going to be on the first place podium. So again, you know, I'm happy with that setup. We actually got the kill cam as well. That's brilliant, because now we can have a little bit of a look at the Sterling in slow motion. But yeah, I'm not too happy with it. It's not been the best SMG. Hopefully you'll have more luck with it, guys, and you'll find a better setup, maybe than what I had. But yeah, it took me a while to find that right setup. It was annoying to begin with until you get all your attachments unlocked. But, you know, you've got to stick with it. Obviously, it is a gun. We all want to get to chrome camo in the end as well. We want to get every single one of us wants these camos. Did I have fun in the last game? I'm going to say yes, even though it was a disappointment with the weapon throughout the game as I keep going through. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I hope I've made myself clear, and obviously the information that I've given you with the SMG Sterling. And actually, as a live kind of information here, this is from Wikipedia, if you want to know this, guys, that it is actually a British SMG, as you didn't know that, and was actually replaced by the Sten. Now, the Sten got replaced by the British SMG Sterling, but I can't understand why. If it's like that in gameplay, I would never exchange the Sten for the Sterling, but there it is. But then the Sterling actually got replaced in 1994 by the L8 5A1 assault rifle. I wonder why. But take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.